I'd like to call the Buhl City Council meeting to order on May 17th, 2022. Ryan, would you please take the roll?
Councilor Marcus.
Here.
Councilor Carter.
Here.
Councilor Lehman.
Here.
Mayor Clarich.
Here. Reports from department heads.
I'll give you guys a little package of the different mowers that I got quotes on. Called around to someplace, and actually, first place I called, they didn't even have stock, and they weren't even able to get stock. So I was actually, when I got that information, I was not looking forward to the different numbers I was going to come across when it came to these mowers. And actually, so the one that I have in front there, which is the cheapest that came in, I was actually quite surprised by the number that actually came in at. And but that's basically what I'm suggesting. The reason why you'll see that on the second page, that there's it's basically the same mower, but for $1,500 more. The only reason why that is because the first one is a 21 model, and the other one on the second page is a 22 model. But the 21 only has 1 hour on it, so it's essentially brand new, just an older model.
It's a pretty good deal.
Oh, yeah. That's why when I seen the price, I was shocked. So that's basically what I'm kind of presenting to you for us to purchase. The reason why I put these though is that because of there's just like how vehicles and everything, there's kind of like a shortage essentially, and so I can't just order this. So I put the next one on there as maybe like a plan B if they were to sell. As of yesterday, that was still on the lot.
So are you looking for action tonight?
Yeah,
Ryan, we don't have that on there, so you want me to add that, Ryan?
Probably best to add that to the agenda.
Okay. When it comes time, I will do that. Okay?
that works.
So does Martin Snow Plowing Equipment, do they service these pieces of equipment? And can they get parts and stuff for them?
Yep.
Okay.
That's out of Cohasset.
Yeah.
Where is that in Cohasset?
It's just right after the light.
It's only coming to town.
It's on the...
It's on the north side of the highway, right after,
Okay.
right after the light.
Up the first business.
I guess I've never paid attention to see it when I was going over the lake there, so, okay. Perfect.
Oh, is there a warranty that comes with these machines?
Yeah, I think it's a 2-year. It's not on here, but I believe it's 2-year.
Even if we were to go with the one that has 1 hour on it, will they hold that warranty on that?
I believe so,
Okay.
yes.
No, we'll take care of that for you then, so.
And just touch base, because I know some people are concerned about the power outage that happened, was it Thursday night, I believe?
Yes.
The reason, some questions were, because we're on that system, both lines come together, so they're able to talk to each other, and if the power goes out, it switches over, and so our outages usually are very minimal. But it just so happened there was widespread outages on that night, and so both lines were down, and so that's why power was out.
I'm gonna address that in my mayor's comments.
Oh, yeah,
But no, you're doing a much better job, more thorough than I'm going to do.
So it was just that some people were upset about a 4-hour outage, but it's happened sometimes. There's not really much you can do about it. Just gotta wait till the problem gets fixed.
Yeah, we're in a position where we're fed from Hibbing and Virginia. If they have problems by Hibbing area, Duluth within 15 seconds flips us on the Virginia line. I mean, it's unique. And we're in a good spot, but when they both have problems,
Like everyone else, that's all.
Yeah,
But there's also a problem with the unique situation, because we're also at the very end of each line, so you need the power to be pushed to the end of the line. So if you got problems at both ends, you just gotta.
Well, I kept checking my sump pump, but that was good. It then ran for the next 6 hours until I left.
It's something with power outages. We have to always check the lift stations, because sometimes they just don't reset themselves.
Okay.
And so we had problems with the lift stations. No household problems, but everything had to be pumped down.
Okay.
It was a late night.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Oh,
Well, thank you. And we'll deal with that lawnmower coming up here fairly quick. Four, Citizens Forum. Anybody sign up?
No.
No? Okay. Five, council additions to the agenda. Well, get your pencils out. Okay, we're gonna add an additional item under item H, Essentia. It's additional account that we're gonna add to that, so that will just be carried under H. I'm just gonna put H1 at the bottom of that, so we'll take care of that then. I'm going to add something to, when John's done with his CIP update, A1 is going to be attorney authorization concerning hazardous property. So Attorney Carney will get your opinion at that time. And then I want to make A2 is lawnmower purchase. And that'll be from Martin Snow Plowing Equipment, as just presented to us. Then item 3E, Summer Street Tires. We have three names that we're going to use. Ben McDowell, Eli Stanaway, and Nathaniel Peterson. So we'll just, we'll have names for that. We didn't have that in our packet, so. That should be it. And I think that's all I need to add at this time. So is there a motion to approve the agenda as I recently amended it?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Stuart, is there support?
Support.
Support by Brandon. Further comment, question, or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign, that motion's carried. We now move on to the consent agenda. The regular city, A minutes, regular city council meeting of May 3rd, 2022. Claims payroll number 9, $13,421.34. Item 2, accounts payable, $77,833.92 for a grand total of $91,255.26. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I so move.
Moved by John, is there support?
I'll support.
Support by Stuart. Any questions, comments concerning the accounts payable or anything else?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Ryan, can you touch on this First National Bank of Buhl amount here?
Yep.
Can you explain exactly
That
what it
is, with our overall project, we have interim financing until we convert it into the actual loan with USDA.
Okay.
So we pay interest on the amount we've drawn out.
Okay. Is there a projected time frame on that, when that will?
We plan to close hopefully sometime probably end of June, July.
Is that upon completion of the project?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Once substantial completion is awarded, then we're allowed to close with USDA.
Okay, then we can eliminate this cost here.
Yeah, and the interest costs built, those were all taken into account.
Okay.
We knew that, so.
Okay.
Are we still locked in with our 1% or whatever it was?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and
We're getting a good deal.
when we did the interim financing, the city had, it was a requirement, that's just how you have to run these projects. The city had the options to search out different banks, various banks, but we wanted to keep it local, and the First National Bank of Buhl matched the lowest rate we could get out where, so it was kind of a win-win for everybody, so.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign, that motion's carried. Now move into the business. A, the CIP update. John, you're up.
Okay, just an update, we had a startup meeting on last year's project, the infrastructure project. Road restrictions came off on Monday, so that helps contractor get mobilized. They were going to start on Burnett. They decided that they wanted to get the sidewalks and the prep work done. They got a comment back from their subcontractor that they'd like to be in town next week to pour concrete, the remaining concrete, which would be driveways and sidewalks. So that's what they're doing this week, prepping for all that to get the concrete in. So that's good. Otherwise, we've been working with USDA to finalize the time extension agreement. We still don't have a formal time extension, but we've got it narrowed down pretty close. A lot of paperwork with the USDA folks, but we're looking at a June 17th completion date. That was kind of requested by the contractor. So that's just, that's in process yet. Otherwise, there's, like I said, we walked around. Billy from our office walked around with the contractors, updated the punch list. There's a lot of things on the punch list. Clean up stuff from last week. I know of a couple of areas in town, a couple of streets that settled,
Woodbridge being one, correct?
I don't know exactly, I know on Roberts there's some.
Roberts, I saw that cone in the middle of the road where there must be something.
They're making a list of those things, and, right now the paving contractor's scheduled for the week of June 10th. So all that prep work and, to get all the final, lift the blacktop in that week. So it's, to settle, we want them to settle over the winter months like they did. I understand there's 4 or 5 spots where there was some settlement, so.
Is that, like that area on Robert Street, is that gonna be taken up and something done with that?
Remove the blacktop and level off, and put some aggregate material in there, and then level it off with class 5 and repave it.
Okay.
There's not a need to do a lot, unless they find that there's something significantly wrong with the subgrade when they remove the blacktop, but it's had its first year settlement. There's probably a utility trench where they cross the road. Hopefully it's settled out and we fill it in. But sometimes when you remove the blacktop, you might notice something awkward. Maybe there isn't enough gravel there or something where they had to prep that.
John, do you want to address the proposed increase from Luminous?
Yeah, we got a request from the contractor through his subcontractor, Wasabi Bituminous. I didn't bring that with me, but it looks like you got it in your package there.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's asking for a $9 per ton increase for the price of fuel and everything for the project. $9 a ton's about a 15% increase for what the unit price is. We looked at it. There's a part of the work should have been done last year. We kind of ran behind schedule. So they could have got some of the wear course done last year, but there was some of it that needed to wait until this year. Everything associated with, the price of gas going the way it's going, and diesel and their materials, they justified, I think, a pretty good justification. They actually wrote this letter to a number of other projects across the range that, having the same situation, couldn't get it done last year, or was scheduled to be done this year. They're just, trying to get a fair, there's no obligation for the city to do it, but, they're just asking. So I'm looking at it, I think about 1,500 tons of the 4,000 could have been paved last year, and so I think
So is that,
if you want to consider, maybe I think $9 times 2,500 tons would be the increase of the project. So
Which we have budgeted for in contingency anyway, correct?
yes.
So there's money there. It's not gonna cost us anything more. It's part of the project.
I think we should be fine on that standpoint. Matter of fact, I sent Ryan, we probably didn't have time to look at it today, but we're trying to get the final budget kind of close to what the final project cost is going to be on this thing.
Yeah.
I responded that thing that your accountant, it came later this afternoon, but you just got it, so. But, there is contingency fund.
So is that,
There's some justification for the work being done in the spring of '22. It's just, the price of the oil and everything, it's going up on everything. I mean, another issue that we heard at the pre-construction meeting is sod. I don't know if you're gonna get sod anywhere this year, unless you get it out south of the Twin Cities, so, some of this restoration will have to be done with seed and some pretty good mulch material. So I don't think we need to consider or approve it tonight. I wanted to talk to USDA about whether this should be a formal change order, or we just put it into the contract.
We have to go with dirt, can we get topsoil instead of black dirt?
Pardon me?
If they have to level off, have the guys put topsoil instead of black dirt. Black dirt will just mush up. Topsoil will hang around.
There's a, topsoil spec that
Yeah,
they've gotta be.
black dirt isn't any good.
Did I read this right, that the price is gonna be $70 a short ton? It's on the last page. What's that
I see
for?
that again, Mike. Yeah, thank you. No, on page,
Just wanna know how much it's gonna cost a ton.
yeah, on this page, the one that's dated March 25th, actually $9.28 per ton of mix is the price that was proposed by Masadi Bituminous. I don't know where the $70 ton is.
I'm on the last page, it just said,
Okay.
I don't know what that is, I'm just,
Yeah, no, this is the actual cost, it was in this letter that they got here. About $9.28 per ton,
okay.
so that comes out to $42,000 for 4,500 tons, but I think 1,500 should have been for sure done last year, but we can talk to Masagi a little bit more, or Casper.
I think we
We
will.
got a completion date, it's kind of important to hit this completion date though.
Yeah, we don't wanna miss that, so.
well, so, I mean, can we negotiate that a little? You said 1,500 tons should have been completed last year.
Yeah,
I mean, so we got a little bit of wiggle room.
yeah.
So who will negotiate that, Ryan and you, or just
I
Ryan?
can work with Ryan.
Why don't we do that, and let's start on that right
We
away,
can have something for you.
so that we can,
June meeting.
they know, away we go.
Yeah.
We just wanted to present this to the council to know this was before, to get some input from the council to take back.
I have no problem, I've run into that up in Lee about having to pay extra for lack of material and increased costs, so I know what's going on, it's huge too, so. This seems fair.
Okay.
Are we still doing the alley behind Whiteside? Is there utilities that gotta go in that?
Behind.
LEF, yeah.
Oh,
the
yeah.
ro-
So
Yep.
that's gonna
That
get,
was approved as a change order, so they're doing that work. They're gonna start, when they get their pipe crew in town, they're gonna,
okay,
they actually did most of the water line last year, and now they gotta take the asbestos pipe out and get that coordinated.
okay. And that's, what'd you call that, Ryan?
It's
Alley
probably
F?
up between Whiteside and,
Would be the,
Whiteside and, Pennsylvania.
Behind the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's that dead end alley behind the church there.
how about east of Forest, is that alley on Whiteside getting done?
East of Forest. That's the same, east of Forest.
Yeah.
Where's that?
They talking about just for like the wear course for the,
No, I thought that alley was to be dug up and utilities put in there.
We talked about, that's the one with the
I
drainage
see
one.
you're talking about towards the assisted living.
No,
Yeah.
Over this side of
Yeah, John
Forest.
Redmond,
no. We're talking about the lining that we still have to do in
Oh,
between.
the sewer lighting? Yes,
Yes,
that's
that
happening, yeah.
Yes. I think that's the one Councilor Carter was referring to, going
Yeah,
that way.
from Forest, this first block to the east there.
And he's talking about a different one.
Is that what, up by Woodridge or Whiteside or down further south?
Yep, no, Whiteside, if you go down Forest right here to Whiteside, you turn left.
Yeah, there's 3 alleys that still need to be worked on, yeah.
Yeah.
Area.
Are they gonna be, is there excavations there, or is that just pavement work?
Just pavement or class, we've got all the pipe was done last year.
Okay. Okay.
So there might be some concrete driveways to put in, restoring what was there. I
Okay.
think that one first alley was concrete base, we're just putting blacktop back though, if that's the one you're referring to.
I don't think there was any blacktop in it.
Okay. Yeah, but all the alleys that we started on last year are part of the restoration to get done.
Okay.
So
Any more questions, council?
Sorry to drag this, so there's a lot of equipment up in the parking lot of the park. And there's gonna be an event in the park. What's the date, June 25th? June 25th?
June 25th?
Yeah. We're gonna have an event in the park, if we could make space for people to park there, maybe just move the equipment and stuff off to the side.
I think that equipment will be out of there by then.
Yeah, when we had the startup meeting, we thought they were gonna start on Burnett Addition right away, but they decided because of the concrete special, they wanna get the sewer, all the sanitary sewers left to do on that, the housing development over there, so I'll get a schedule, but they should be done by that.
And if not, we'll make accommodation. We'll make
Yeah,
accommodation.
we'll have to, because they gotta patch the blacktop, so we wanna get that patched. Well, Wasabi's in town here too, so. But yeah, we'll note that date, if there's a problem, we'll make sure
Okay,
arrangements are made.
thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Yeah. Well, the final punch line is June 21st through the 29th.
Oh, we were supposed to have all this done last year in the fall too, though.
Well, I mean, even for this year though.
So the paving, we're talking about substantial completion is when they get to workhorse. And that's a follow-up cleanup work was get everything done by the end of June. And that still kicks off, still in the 1-year warranty period too, so. That goes from substantial completion date, so at a warranty period, say if that schedule holds from June 17th of this year till June 17th of 2023. Anything happens, you're not a warranty issue.
Last call, council, anything for John? John, is that it?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we'll go to A1, the attorney authorization on the hazardous property. Let's listen to Attorney Carney. What do you have to say?
I spoke with Clerk Permanency, and the building inspector came and inspected properties, and he noted that 2 were hazard. There's Minnesota statute that procedure the city can follow to either get the cooperation and consent from the legal owners, or that you can determine it to be condemned and have to be raised and torn down. It's an expense to the city, but then you can put that on to the real estate taxes. Requires court action. It's always better if people consent, but we don't know until we get the copy of the. Do you know when that letter reports are going to come back?
Should have that this week.
All right. And then direct me to send a letter to make sure we have the homeowner or owners, and then send letters to them indicating, what's the matter with their building. We deem it to be hazardous, and I think formed part of it, they could consent to it, and if not, then direct me to commence with litigation to declare it a hazardous building. But there is an expense to tearing down buildings, just so the city's aware of that.
And then the properties in question that we're starting with are the old laundromat down on State Street, and then the garage over on Forest that the roof is caving in. So they're starting to pose, more of a risk to the community, and we want to start the process of getting these properties taken care of, or, and holding their property owners responsible. So I would recommend that the council authorize the attorney to move forward and start this process, so.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support it.
Supported by Stewart. Okay, further discussion. Anything else, Attorney Carney?
No, Mayor.
Okay. And then Ryan, we'll probably get this done sometime this summer to go get through this process. I'm sure it might take a little while.
Well, yeah, I can tell you the pandemic and litigation is moving slowly through the court system. We
we'll
get
just have to
cooperation, obviously, you can get it as soon as possible. It sounds like a garage, I don't know how much would be involved with that.
Depending on the contents.
Yeah.
Ryan, is there funding available to help with demolition of buildings like that?
The IRRR has a couple different avenues we can explore.
Okay. I think we've talked about that before.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the intent is to get the property owners responsible to cover that. That'll be our first effort, but then we would look for, grant help. The city does also have a capital account for demolition that we've kept some money in for situations such as this, where, unfortunately it's the rest of the taxpayers having to, take care of problems that they shouldn't have to. But ultimately, though, we need to make sure the areas around those buildings are safe for the community as well. So it's tough because it's a long, drawn-out process, but like Attorney Carney said, with cooperation, and hopefully we can get this taken care of sooner rather than later.
Okay. Further comment or question? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion is carried. Now we'll go on to A2, and that's the purchase of the lawnmower that Trent talked about from Martin's Snowplow and Equipment for a price of $9,164. We've heard something on that. There's a motion to approve the buying of that lawnmower with 1 hour of time on it.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Stewart. Is there support?
Support.
Support by John. Further comment, question, or discussion?
Just a note for the council, this was a budgeted item for 2022. And I would maybe make the motion contingent on that there's still an existing warranty.
I would accept that amendment onto my motion. Stewart?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion is carried. We'll now move on to 7B. Resolution 22-24, it's a donation. Attached is Resolution 22-24. The resolution accepts a donation from the Arrowhead Library System and the United Way of Northeast Minnesota for the library. Ryan, is there anything you want to highlight first before I ask for a motion?
No, these are just annual donations that the city gets for the operation of the library and subsequent programming. So
We've gotten this before, right?
What's that?
We've gotten this before?
I think we got a little bit more from the United Way, if I recall. Which is good to see. The Arrowhead Library System, it varies a little bit depending on how much funds are available, so.
Okay, and the two funds are the Arrowhead Library System of $1,113 and the United Way of Northeastern Minnesota for $750. Is there a motion to approve resolution number 22-24 for those amounts?
All motion.
Motion by Brandon. Is there support?
I'll support.
Support by Stewart. Further comment, question, discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion is carried. We'll now move on to design proposals for the Fire Hall Ambulance Public Works Building. Ryan, why don't you run through this rather quickly for us, explaining what's going on, and then we'll continue on with it.
Sure. Based on a previous motion from the council to solicit proposals to see, if the city decides to explore the options of building a bigger facility. The council authorized me to get these proposals. We received two, obviously one from the design group for $7,000 to kind of get those financial numbers that I need to put together a package for the council to consider and things like that. And we also received another one from Architectural Resources, who we've worked with quite a bit in the past, who offered to get that information and work with us to, take another potential step in this process at no cost to the city. So I think with that, as the council explores options to get the fire department the adequate space they need and to potentially upgrade other facilities, and kind of maybe possibly look at long-term savings down the road, I think just authorizing Architectural Resources to work with us to, get some numbers on paper. I mean, it's a logical step that's at no cost to our residents. And, as mentioned, this is still very early in this process. And like I said, it's authorizing me to get information for you, and we'll go from there.
There's no commitment from us whatsoever, and it's at no cost. So that's really a pretty good deal. We get that service for no cost. I'll make that I'll motion that proposal be accepted to use ARI at no cost to look into the cost of what the building could look like. Correct?
Correct.
Is there a second?
I'll support that.
Okay. Comments from the council?
Ryan, obviously you need some sort of proposal to go after funding, correct?
Correct.
So we gotta have something put together and be organized for that. Do you have any prospective routes to go for that, or any ideas yet?
I'm looking at, obviously the IRRR would be a source. I've talked to a number of individuals over there.
Okay.
The second would be USDA has a community facilities program that offers both grants and those no interest, low interest, 1% loans, which would be looking at a funding package. There's also potential for some St. Louis County funds that I've talked to a few individuals about, but until we have an idea, a number from Architectural Resources or another group, but like the mayor said, Architectural is offering to get us this number and information at no cost, which is good for the public, obviously, and good for the city. It, allows me to come, if the council wishes to explore this down the road, it gives, I can put together kind of my recommendations and where these funds could come from, and hopefully get some commitments if that's the direction we go. So.
And one thing you left out is the potential sale of the buildings that we're replacing, which you got some estimates for that could cover a fair portion of the cost too.
Yeah.
So what we're looking for is to have it at little or no cost to the taxpayer.
Exactly, and I asked a couple realtors who have helped our EDA in the past and stuff, just come walk through buildings and give us it's a rough idea, but I think it's good information for the council to have, to see, because obviously if we move forward, or if the council decides to move forward with this, it's with savings in mind by reducing some of the buildings the older buildings that we're having to spend money to maintain, insurance, utilities, and kind of downsizing as a long-term savings for the taxpayers.
And these will be, the sale of that could be considered in-kind donation to match grants and or request the USDA. Okay.
Exactly. And
so it's kind of, at this point, it's no cost to us, and it's right now it's a win situation. So then if it's too expensive, we won't do it. Simple as that. Further comment or question?
One more. We deal a lot with real estate, and from this email here, seeing that this agent is offering a 6% commission rate, if we move forward with any of that, I'm sure we can negotiate that down.
Yeah.
You can request quotes and, like you say, then negotiate after that, because
I know you can get a better rate than that.
Probably half of that.
Yeah, I'm thinking you should be able to do 4 with that kind of dollar amount for real estate.
I mean, something to think about, and that's good point.
Yeah,
Try to maximize our dollars any way we can.
Well, basically, that was just one phone call just to put some numbers in front of us.
Oh, and them real estate agents always throw 6 at
Yeah.
you to start it right away.
Yep.
Okay, further, good question. Anything else? Hearing none, all those in favor, wait.
I have a motion and support.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion by saying aye? Aye. Those opposed, same sign, motion carried. Were we supposed to take roll call, the last item?
We were,
Oh, yeah.
but I think
You can just retake the vote by roll call, I don't think,
it was for the previous agenda item. Do you want me to do that? Was that recommended?
you should just, if that's what your normal procedure is, you should do it.
Okay, just for the record, this will be the roll call vote for resolution
Donations.
2224, accepting the donations from the Arrowhead Library System and United Way for the library. Councilor Marcus?
Yes.
Councilor Carter?
Yes.
Councilor Lehman?
Yes.
Mayor Clarich?
Yes, resolution carries. Okay, the next item on our agenda, we are on 7D campground. This is discussion to approve or reject. Ryan, do you just want to lead us into that and highlight what you have in front of us?
Per the council's last meeting in their direction on the campground, I kind of revamped the policy up there to try to control some of the issues. My recommendations kind of include, and Trent had some, I talked to him as well as the Chisholm Police and things like that. One of the things is having people register and being issued a receipt at City Hall that they can display down there. Cost, original cost was $10. We had, I threw out a range 10 to 20, settled on 12. I mean, that's always negotiable. Minimum or maximum stay 7 days. Obviously, the same stipulations as far as alcohol, age of campers, firearms, where campfires are, and just mentioned all the other stuff that you shouldn't need to mention, but we do anyway. Obviously, pets need to be leashed and things like that. But the main recommendation is to have anybody wishing to stay at the campground prepay at City Hall. And our thought is we'd issue them some type of tag that they can display on their campsite. So when our employees go through to do their cleanup, or the Chisholm Police go through, if they don't see their registration tag or whatever we decide to give them, that they would be immediately kicked out. So we hope, we're hopeful that hopefully pushes out some of the, those who ruin it for everybody else.
Is that something that law enforcement can check daily?
Yeah, I mean, they're in town for 3-4 hours a day, and they usually do, in the summer, drive through the campground daily.
Okay.
So,
Well, if the rules are you have to have something posted at the campsite showing that you paid for that, and they make their way through, they should be able to address that.
yeah, immediately.
We had posts on campsites, didn't we? And then they can display the whatever we give them.
Yeah.
So each campsite has a post with some kind of clip, I think.
Is there clips on them?
The rec board, we were talking about this too, and something we brought up was a lot of campsites have, if you pay it on site, your tag that you put in with your payment is 2-part. You tear it off and put the tag on your campsite, just like what you guys are suggesting from City Hall.
Yeah.
Our fear would be that if you not only raise the price, but also make it more of an obstacle to pay for it, you're probably going to see less likely customers or people that are less likely to pay when they use it.
Well, we're trying to control the riffraff that comes in through there.
Yeah.
Last year we had such a problem with just bad stuff, and
the last 2 years were significant years for that kind of thing to begin with, but having more paying good customers would probably
be better.
Yeah. I mean, they're less likely to want to commit crime in front of a whole bunch of witnesses or do whatever it is they're doing. So if we advertise it more like we were hoping that if you guys are opening it this year, we've already gotten a quote to advertise on the Wasabi Trails website and on the signs for a full year for $75. And a couple other things we're looking into, maybe get more usage out of the campsite. And like I said, the more people are using it, the less likely people will use it improperly. Or if you guys did want to have prepay at City Hall, if you could maybe mix the two, it's like, say, if you raise it to $12 for the campsites, maybe have it $12 if you pay at the campsite, or only $10 if you prepay at City Hall. And Tammy had brought up having somebody staying there to help supervise it and offering them to stay for free as long as they pick up and keep an eye out. She said she was checking around and she found a few people that would be interested in something like that if it was something you guys considered.
As a host?
Right.
I guess I don't recommend extending the maximum days past 7 days, because that's one of the big problems we had, is people staying there for 3 months and having their campers explode with God knows what in there. Cost, this isn't designed, the campground isn't designed to be a revenue maker for the city. It should ideally break even though, so whatever the council would like to do with that. I don't think the prepay thing is working, because we've been shorted how many times where, people, I only have $5, so that's all I'm gonna throw in there, where the idea of getting them up to City Hall and having them complete the reservation form, which is on the second page of that agenda, gives us their name, address, telephone, license plate number, so if something comes up, here's their contact information, and whether it's for future reference, not allowing them to camp there if something happened, or for, criminal acts with some of the, needles and drugs we found up there, I think that's valuable information to have to keep that type of clientele out of you.
And if we need law enforcement to follow up on anything, they have the information right there, whether it be local, sheriff, or beyond that.
Ryan, is there anything we can do for after hours and weekends?
That would be
Is there can we look at something?
the Buhl Chisholm cops going through there.
Well, no, to pay and get a campsite. If it was Saturday and I wanted to rent it Saturday night.
Yeah, and that's the tough part, because there's no good option. I don't think we can expect the PD to go collect things. That is the downside. I guess my trial solution for that would maybe be to advertise these are our rules and get it out there a little bit, but that's not necessarily going to affect,
Put this on our Facebook page?
Yeah.
And have a Buhl Campground Facebook page, or no? Or?
No, I'm just, post it clearly out there. It's not going to get to people down in the cities who want to come up or anything like that.
Well, the bike trail's there, and if the rec board's going to advertise it, if somebody's biking through the area and it's after hours, it'd be hard to get a spot.
We could alter this a little bit where people can, we can email them these applications and they can pay over the phone via credit card. We can do it that way, as long as that's done in normal business hours. I don't see
Well, I think this is a good start if we can work around that after hours or when City Hall's not open for getting these sites.
Well, we need something to start with. I think this is a good start. We can always amend it.
Yep.
And just see what the problems are. But, that's where you get into trouble, is late night arrivals. Because you never know what you're getting.
When are we opening?
We usually open just prior to Memorial Day, is that correct, Trent? Attorney Carney, I don't know if you want to address a campground host. To me, if we bring someone on like that, they'd almost be an employee of the city, where we need to run background checks, do drug tests and things like that, and I'm not...
you'd want to do your due diligence to make sure you're putting someone there that's doesn't have issues.
We have liabilities too. That could come back to haunt us.
I think it's a good starting point right now.
Yeah, let's go with this to start with, and then we can revisit this every so often.
Well, I think most people, if you plan ahead, it shouldn't be that much of an issue.
Yeah, and we're gonna have people coming in there at nighttime and staying there anyway, so. But that'll be when the cops come.
That's their problem then.
I mean, we do have, for the council and the public's info, we do have a lot of people call and ask about the campground. So it's not like they're not calling City Hall to begin with. So it's, it's an easy transition. Well, you need to stop up at City Hall and prepay, or we can get your information and payment over the phone for your night. I'm not saying this isn't gonna go without hiccups by any means, but if the council's main goal is to keep the campground open, I think we need to make some adjustments, and, like Councilor Lehman said, it's a starting point. There can always be adjustments. I could put this on, I can give the council an update on how this is working next month, then we can adjust if necessary.
Oh crap. Lost my thought. That was the thing. People are gonna plan ahead, or should plan ahead, so, and if you're taking phone calls from people, you're gonna tell them what the rules are. And, that was my question. What, do we have to put this in our ordinances, these rules, or?
Nope, the original rules were it was just a policy. It wasn't, we don't have a particular ordinance governing the campground. And I don't know if that's something we should look into, or if a policy is sufficient.
I don't think you need to, it's just policy or guidelines with regards to the campground.
And so law enforcement will be able to take action against
Well,
these?
if they're not there, they haven't paid for a spot, they say you got to go, but if there's criminal activity, well, then they would look for crimes that are on the books.
It's real simple then.
Yeah.
And I can have a conversation with Chief Manor as well, if they can give a little leeway for, if people are in there but didn't know they had to come up at City Hall, if they're, using it as it's intended, I think the discretion can be given.
You're always going to have an exception to the rule. We have to learn to live with it and be somewhat flexible, but not too much. Trent, you had your hand?
Well, I'll also have to look at increasing signage, because Chisholm Police probably won't be able to just kick some out unless there's a sign that essentially says that you have to have paved or you get booted, essentially. So there have to be signage increased.
Okay. That's just one of the things that goes along with it, which isn't a problem. Anything else? Well, I'd entertain a motion to accept this policy, and we understand that it can be revised at any time in the future.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Stuart. Is there support?
Support.
Support by John. Further comment, question, discussion? Hearing none, all those,
Do we still have that display board up there? That we can add to it, or
Yeah, we can all,
put some rules on there?
we'll make sure appropriate signage is out there.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. F, Parks and Recreation request.
Mr.
No, I
Mayor,
went to, oh yeah, that's right.
Summer Street hires.
I'm sorry, Summer Street hires. And we have 3 names there, I believe. Ryan, they are?
Those would be Ben McDowell, Eli Stanway, and Nathaniel Peterson, just pending completion of pre-employment requirements, drug test applications, tax forms, things like that.
They have a 1-day orientation, right, Trent?
Yeah, they do.
They have a 1-day orientation. They have rules to follow, or they can be dismissed for, we expect them, that's a job, they're supposed to be there on time, follow the rules, no horseplay on the equipment, things of that nature. So, and we reserve the right to terminate.
I don't know about the other two, but like Ben was worked last year, so.
Yeah.
Okay,
There is a safety training that to go through.
perfect. Okay.
Make a motion to hire.
Okay, motion by Stewart, is there support?
Support?
Further comment, question, or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. That motion is carried. Now it's Parks and Recreation request. Ryan?
As you see, the rec department is asking for $250, or is it $300 now for the Independence celebration?
I guess it depends on which part. It was the Nicholas's candy we were tossing the parade was $250.
Okay, excuse me, I'll restart. $250 for games and prizes for the Independence celebration, $180 for trophies for the parade, and $250 instead of $200 that was mentioned in your memo. There is also an additional request for crowns and sashes for a Little Miss and Mr. contest after consulting with Attorney Carney. That type of contest is usually put on by a civic organization, a Kiwanis club, a branch that is separate of the city, and for some concerns just with the city promoting that type of event, I would not recommend that one. And
Attorney Carney, do you care to comment beyond what Ryan has said?
No, I
or-
concur, that was what I indicated, and usually it's a different organization, and you take potential city politics or favoritism, I don't think you want to get involved in that. A separate civic organization usually is involved, and it doesn't come back on the city at all.
So that will be eliminated, Ryan, is what you're saying? That $100 then?
correct. And then there was $75 for advertising on the Mesabi Trail.
The city could donate to that if there was an organization to do it. The city could donate to that if somebody else is willing to do it.
Was it just like the choosing the winners, because you're actually going to have assisted living doing that, or putting on the event at all?
Just with regards to the Little Miss and Mr. Buhl,
Yeah, we were going to have the winners of that picked by the residents of assisted living, or would it not, it's not specifically just tied to who's choosing the winners, or?
Who's holding it?
Yeah, I believe.
Who's the sponsors, what the question is?
Right.
We don't want anything to do with the sponsoring of that because of the trouble we could get into
Right.
legally and liability-wise. So
Yeah, I think
if they're sponsoring it, the assisted living
Yeah.
and handling everything, that's fine.
yeah.
I don't think we can put money into that, though.
I'd like to see
Subsidize
how
that.
it went first and then go from there. So I would delete the money towards
Okay.
Little Miss Buhl and Mr. Buhl.
Yeah, and just to note, Diana provided some financial information. There's the updated budget in your, that I printed out for you, or she printed out for you. Beginning in '22, there was 1,000 budgeted for expensive. Obviously, this was before, kind of the rec board got going and whatnot. So these additional funds would be coming out of capital. So I would just,
I question that.
I was gonna question that too.
I don't think it can come out of capital. I don't think it should come out of capital.
it is not, our auditor does not recommend that we
Yeah, I don't want to get cited. That's why I'm saying this.
pull funds out of capital for,
Capital for capital funding, strictly and period, in my estimation.
yes, I mean, proper auditing standards and city financial administration is costs associated with whether it's recreation, whether it's public works like the lawnmower or whatever, should have should be budgeted for in the budget. Capital is more for equipment, grant matches, things like that.
Or fixing capital, like hockey rink boards or swing sets or things of that nature.
Wages, stuff like that, right?
Part of what we requested previously was for renting a dump tank and inflatable. And on the budget, there is a category for other rentals, which is $925 budgeted for it. We haven't used any of that. So at least $500 to $550 of that should be moved from the expenses to that category, right?
Well, those aren't, the previous expenses approved aren't reflected on it because we haven't paid the invoices, though. They only would be paid. And the previous items the council approved are being worked out. I paid one today because I was waiting on a revised quote, taking out sales tax that city shouldn't pay, and I'm waiting on another one. So they are not reflected in there. It's kind of up to the council's discretion on, how these funds are used.
Where was, what number is that for rental of stuff on here?
418 is the last three numbers. It's
418 for $925?
yeah. So
And we have a balance of $925? So I think, how much can we push of what you're requesting here onto that $925? I want a balanced budget, that's what I'm trying to get at here, so.
I'd have to look back at what those two rentals actually cost. But like I said, it'd be about $500, $550.
Okay, but you're not asking for any of that in these,
That was what we previously requested. I guess I'm confused then.
So where, for the equipment rentals, where is that money being pulled from, Ryan?
The other rentals, that's a separate line item within the budget.
Yeah, no, the actual,
So what, are we just going over the $1,000 in event expenses? Is that is that the?
Yes, you'd be going over in the actual 1,000 for the event expenses.
About how much?
I think you're over by about, it'll be about $800.
how much?
Well,
Is that,
based on Diana's budget, we approved 1,100 for upcoming events. There was 100, or there was 1,000 in the budget for that, so that's 100 over. Request is for 805 for these.
Okay,
So that'd be a total of 905 over, but we're gonna pull some of that other money previously spent, right?
Right.
To help, I want this balance, so we're gonna work with you on this,
Yeah,
so.
of the 1,100, at least half of that was for rentals.
Okay,
Then there was the $200 we approved for skate sharpening and new laces for the skates. That could come out of, one of the, that doesn't have to come out of events like it probably was originally scheduled to.
well, we have park expenses, line item, number 235, correct?
Right.
That has not been
We also
touched,
have
so
skating.
Ryan, we can technically tap into that for some of this,
Well,
correct?
There's skating rink expenses, which right now is only spent $47 of 200, so we have another 152 in that. So.
I don't like mixing those up. I think we can maybe transfer at the end with the auditor approval, but right now, I'd like, when you do projects and things, we keep them within the budget that we've established. So let's not use that one. You've got $1,000 on this 235. I think we should go and use that, because that's what you're using that park for on this 4th of July
Well, I'm talking
thing.
about the skate repairs and new laces for the skates. That probably should have went under skating rink expenses.
Well, most kids that come out there have their own skates.
Well, yeah, but we have them.
I mean, we have some there that sit there and the kids don't have skates.
And even you had recommended we should probably get those sharpened.
Well, you get them sharpened once and that's it. You said $50.
Well, $50 to do, I think it was 15, and we have 16 there. And it's a little punch card, so we'll have leftover for resharpening them later. And then laces that we need to replace, there was at least 8 pairs. I guess I don't know the price of laces offhand for skates, but they're probably $4 a pair.
But according to this, we still have $152 in skating rink expenses, correct?
Yeah, so I'm thinking if we move some of this stuff into categories that would probably make more sense, we could look at being closer to balancing. And I can start looking into that, what we've actually spent it on and where it should have gone.
Yeah, I think we need that in the near future, come back to us with what you find and what you found and what you've done. So that now you get an idea of how city budgeting is going and how, like I said, I don't want to get cited by the auditor because we're going into capital expenditures for events.
I don't think that we requested it coming out of capital. I just assumed that of these categories, it was falling into capital.
Well, the way I see it written here, it was going to do that. So, and that's just a heads up to you guys. You've got to stay within your means and know exactly what you can spend money on here. And I think really before you come to us with these requests, you should go through Ryan and Diana first, and then bring it to us. We'll give you the proof. We're going to prove it, but it's got to meet the auditing laws and in our budgeting rules and guidelines, so we don't go over.
Specify which category we want.
Okay. Yep. I think it's. I think it's a fairly simple thing that I think you have a handle on it. It's just you got to learn what the guidelines are that we have to play within. And I think this can work out. And then you can always.
Can the rec board move these funds around between categories, or is that something the council has to approve?
The council can only move funds from.
Okay, so if they need to make some moves, they can come to the council and we can make those adjustments?
Correct.
Okay.
And can we also have some of them come out of these donations? Or how do the donations work then? Like if we wanted...
Yeah, and that can work too, and that's what I was going to mention too. Some of those donations can be used to...
However they wish.
Yeah, because
we keep a donation, so then it's you tell us we're going to use this for donation money for that. Absolutely, and that's just wise use of money. That's great budgeting skills. So that's what I guess we're trying to get here.
Yeah, and just like especially any city department being cognizant of keeping these capital funds a little higher because they can be used in a match for a grant. So we're getting
it's dollars leverage. So every dollar you take out of there, it really hurts you down the road when you're trying to leverage something. You want a nice chunk of money there because maybe you can get $60,000 worth of equipment someplace for a $10,000 match. So
I don't think we had any intention of capital account because we were saving that for parking equipment. So
and then what you can also do is towards the end of this year, when we're starting to set budgets for next year, you can go back and talk to Ryan and Diane and say, well, we've got this $200 in skating shack expense. Say, we only want that to be $100. We'll watch how that goes and move that 100 into a different category. So, and you can do that prior, and then we'll adopt that budget for next year. So you got a bit more leeway on what you want to do.
Do you, or Ryan, would you mind giving us like a deadline on when you want that? 'Cause we didn't get it last year and we were obviously chasing our tails. So for this upcoming year, we'd like to have that ready before you guys need it.
Yeah, well, the budgeting process usually starts in August. While we're working on it now in different departments and enterprise accounts, but yeah.
Perfect.
So the total we're looking at on this is, if I did my math right, $755. Is that correct?
Yes.
Because the third item was moved to $250. The $100 was eliminated, and the rest remained the same.
Yep.
Okay. Can we take action on this and make this?
Yep.
Well, we'll make it work within the budgeting system as we have so that we don't go over on one and we're not going to tap capital. That's the main thing I want to get out of this. And then you can use donation money. Like I said, you still got 1,000 sitting there in in the event thing. So.
Oh yeah.
So I think you do it. Just work with Ryan before you come to us and say, here's what I'd like to do, and Ryan will guide you out and he'll put it together for us so it stays within budget, it stays in the right category, and then you at the end, like in August sometime, see Ryan, your committee, make recommendations that we think there's too much money in this account we would like pushed into the event thing, or make it how it's going to work for you. And then donation money, can you spend it the way you want that you get as donations. We don't have, there's no control, or just what's legal. That's the only thing we have to state. So, okay, so Ryan, you will work with him to get this put into the right spots here so that we preserve capital and we keep the funds move the stuff into the right funds. Sounds like he'll have some things that he might want to move out of skating supplies. I have no problem. I think that's great. I think that's a good plan. So I'm open to entertain a motion to approve this with those fine-tuning adjustments that we put on there. Okay, motion. Is there support?
I'll support it.
Support by John. Okay, just further comments. Any more clarification you need? Okay.
The only thing I had is maybe the board can do some fundraising.
But I think they probably will. I thought I saw that you're going to talk about that in future
Yeah,
meetings.
it's one question we have, like, say for example, the dunk tank. A lot of the times, there's a fee like $3 for 5 tosses or $5 for 10 or something like that. Are we allowed to do that? Obviously, as long as it doesn't violate the contract with the rental place. Is that something we can do to recoup some of the funds for?
I think the proper procedure would be, you can't, I don't think we can charge for that, but you can have like a donation jar, and that money can be accepted via resolution and dedicated to the rec department.
I like that idea. That works.
Or does that fall under charitable gambling? They would just come to us and say, we're going to do this and charge for, here's what we want to do. Could they do that in the future?
I could take a look at that, but I know they've got dunk tanks. I don't know who ran it. Like Slaughter Carnival, I spent about $40 trying to dunk Chief Stokes. So,
So that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's another avenue for you to
Yeah, could we get?
obtain money.
Can we get some general rules for?
Yeah, the attorney and I will we'll get you some information on proper practice, just because
You're going to love to have a cakewalk, Attorney Carney? No, I'm just those would be the parameters that it's desired donation, something like that, and then have it at some cost that you want to set it at. And then and then would they have to deposit that with you, Ryan, and you keep a donation fund here, or do they just keep that separately and have their own checking account? How does that work?
No, it would be a donation to the city on behalf of the.
And then we'd have a reserved account for them for all their donations to be kept there, and then they don't even need council approval to spend those dollars.
Well, they still need to, because they're coming into the city, they're
Okay.
technically the taxpayers'
So they'd come to us
dollars.
for, okay.
But, based on donations, best practices. for the
It's their money, so they spend it how they want. Okay.
We got in trouble with the fire department with doing that stuff, so.
Okay. Well, that's a good heads up for them.
Yeah, it's important for auditing standpoint that any money given to the city be properly documented, accepted via resolution, and so we can follow the trail.
Okay. I just so it works to get you more money, that's fine. Okay, we have a motion and a second, correct?
Correct.
Any further comment, question, or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion is carried. Next is G, the fireworks display authorization. Ryan, you just want to highlight this first before we take action
For
on
the
it?
council's approval tonight, in front of your desk, we have the application from the Hideaways, the Gaunt Company, to do a fireworks display on June 25th, I believe. This process requires coordination between our fire chief, Chief McDowell, myself, to both sign off on proper procedures. I've had numerous conversations with Nora down at the Hideaway, and she seems to be on top of it. But requirements to allow this type of display within city limits and on city property require sign off by our fire chief, myself, and then ultimately the council on this. So we're working with her just to make sure everything's, by the book, by the fire marshal standards. I've talked to Josh. He plans to have a couple firefighters kind of on standby during the event. So I just want to make sure we follow Buhl hasn't had a fireworks display for a while, so I just want to make sure we're doing everything by the book. It's about a 35-page document that lists all the rules and regulations that Chief McDowell and myself have been going through, as well as Nora, the sponsoring organizer. Just a note that I talked to her this afternoon. the city will be listed as an additional insured onto her insurance in case something happens, a fire breaks out, things like that. So she would have to support that to the city, which she will, prior to the event. So, but the council ultimately needs to approve this type of event within the city limits.
I have a question, Ryan. This Keith fellow, now, does he have a company or does he just have the license and he can freelance all over to do
He
that?
works for a company.
He works for a company, okay.
And they need to be verified. That's one requirement,
Okay.
is that the fire chief and myself verify the license with our acting fire
It
marshal.
says type and number of fireworks. What,
It's a
5 inch, yeah, and then,
1.3 grams.
okay. That's the biggest it can be?
That's what they have to, the
That's
fireworks
standard.
company has to tell us what they're
What they're using,
What they're
okay.
using. yeah.
Okay. This looks in order to me, so I think it's great to have that again. I'd entertain a motion to approve the fireworks authorization.
I'll motion.
Motion by Brandon, is there support?
I'll support.
Support by Stewart.
Question.
Okay, go ahead.
On this, I think maybe behind the curling club up there on the dump there, might not be a great spot. I don't know if it's in the rules and regulations of them towers up there, so it's the only my concern of that, so.
Yeah, and I'll talk with Josh to make sure.
They've always been up there.
Fireworks
The
before?
tower's been up there since '75.
Oh, I know, but have you had fireworks there before?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
major ones too, I mean, big time, so,
Yeah, there's
well, that's a good question, I'm glad.
Just, that's my concern of it,
Yeah.
but.
Yeah, it's probably something
Yeah,
Josh
just
may need to
double
discuss
check
with
that,
the fire
yeah.
marshal's office too.
But no, this will be
I
great.
don't have the knowledge or experience to comment on
You guys
that.
probably didn't have the rules and regulations back then.
Well, we might not have a law, back then liability wasn't like it is today. So, okay, further comment or question? All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign, motion's carried. Okay, H, Essentia Ambulance. Finally, we get to sort for having to listen. You're an expert on a lot of other things now, too, evidently, so. Okay, Ryan, just want to walk us through this a little bit?
Yeah, we still don't have the agreement back from Essential's legal department, so that's, again, nothing's changing. The city's covered. They're doing a good job. So, the one item under there has to do with basically it's a cell phone app that has to do with dispatch and paging people out that the fire department currently has. What we're requesting, since Buhl's the entity that owns the license, is to add another basically account onto our original account. And that cost would just be passed through to Essentia. Basically, since Essentia hasn't operated within St. Louis County, it's already set up through the city of Buhl and our fire department. It just kind of saves them a step in paperwork. Again, no cost to the city or our residents. It's just kind of, I need to get council approval to add an additional.
I'll make the motion to approve that additional account. Is there a support?
I'll support.
Okay, keep going, Ryan, if there's anything else, and anything you'd like to add, or Stuart, anything, as a fire person?
This app is on our phones. It turns our phones into a pager, so it's another source of notifying us. Some people don't carry a pager on, but they carry a phone. Everybody's got a phone.
Right. Plus, it gives us more information about the incident going on prior for us our arrival, that more so than what they give over the radio or the pager.
And it can map calls, so we can just hit the thing and it shows us right where it's at and how to get there.
Yeah.
And just for the council, after talking to representatives from them, they've done quite a bit of community outreach, stopped at the nursing homes, introduced themselves and things like that. So I think things are working out pretty well. So we're glad to have them there. And I'm working with Joe Newton, their kind of supervisor on that application to upgrade our license to advanced life support, which is that added level of care that will be provided to our residents in the near future. So.
The only question I heard it takes 3 months.
Well, so there's a little bit of fire under the EMSRB right now, so it might go a little bit quicker, but actually during the COVID and everything was actually taking 6 to 9 months. But they have a new director now, and I think things are moving a little bit quicker. But we're still staffing up. In fact, I got somebody sitting at the fire hall right now for an interview. But
Well, we could have really tortured him, had him come and sit here. You should have said something. We could have moved you up. I apologize.
But I have several offers out. Most of them will be starting June 6th. A lot of my staff members from Deer River has been coming over and picking up shifts here. So we have it scheduled out through the middle of June right now. So we're not fully staffed, but we've done 21 calls since we took over on April 22nd. In fact, the first day at 9 a.m., between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. we did 5 calls, which I believe almost the record here was 6 calls in one day. We almost matched that in the very first day we were here, but everything's going pretty good.
Okay.
Building is suiting you guys fairly well.
Yeah, we've been working with Ryan and the work crew and stuff, and everything's coming around and stuff, so everything has been pretty good.
Okay, further comment or question? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion is carried. Thank you, sorry we kept you.
No problem.
We could have moved you up, it wouldn't have been hard. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, next we're going on to letter I, and that is information on the individuals who would like to be appointed to the council. Okay, for the public, we had 3 applicants. 1 applicant missed the deadline, so we're down to 2 applicants, 2 local people, which of course by law they have to be. Denise Keeley and Carol Pastore. I'm going to make the motion to appoint Carol Pastore after 1 month, correct, Ryan? She has to sit out a month, or is it?
No, she would take her seat at the next.
meeting?
Actually, at the local Board of Appeals meeting. So she would, after she takes her oath of office, whoever.
I'm going to state why I'm doing this. We had 2 good candidates here, 3 actually overall, but the one was too late. This person that I'm recommending and I'm motioning for has lived in the city for over 60 years, previously served on the council, the school board, and numerous other boards and commissions. Currently on the Buhl Library Board and heavily involved with the Senior Center, as we all know, and the numerous events that are hosted by the center. Recently, she worked very closely with Ryan to get through the CDBG the upgrades for the Senior Center, which meant the flooring, getting it painted, countertops, windows, and handicapped bathroom door, correct, Ryan? Mm-hmm. Okay. I think she's outstanding. She helped with the raising of the banners. She was one of the people who worked on that. So with that, I'm making the motion to appoint Carol Pastore to the council. Is there support?
I support.
Support by John. I'm open to comment or discussion from the council. Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. So she'll know when she'll be seated and we'll go from there. Okay, that's good. Okay, councilors' comments. John?
I'd like to, I don't know if Stewie or Josh had anything to do with the county coming in town and doing a patching of potholes on Forest. Oh.
It's a county road.
I know, but they
so
haven't really come as far as they did in the past.
Maybe the guys did it and didn't.
Well, I'd like to say thank you to the county for getting some well-needed potholes filled up, and
I was wondering if we did that.
We usually do.
yeah, that's what I meant.
But you didn't have to do it, so
Yeah.
we appreciate that.
Yeah. And like I say, Casford's kind of trying to clean up or finish up what they started, so.
Ryan, question. John, you brought this up. if there's somebody that feels that either they worked on their driveway or their sidewalk or something and they still have a concern, they should contact City Hall?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's with anything with the construction that's currently ongoing or from last year yet, after the winter, the snows have receded.
And just to quickly address a couple calls that we've gotten over the past few weeks, if you had a concrete driveway that was taken up for construction, you're gonna get a concrete driveway back in. If you had an asphalt one, you're gonna get an asphalt one. If anything was taken out because of construction, it will be replaced. We've had a couple calls where neighbors told their other neighbor that they weren't on the list. That's not true, but definitely if you have concerns, you can give us a call. But if you had something, that's what's gonna be put back in.
That's good to know.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Can a person like upgrade their driveway to all concrete if it was collective?
Yeah, usually the individual pays for that.
Yeah, right.
The difference, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that would be
work
something
with-
that, residents we'll give them contact information for the contractor that's doing both of us, but the city doesn't coordinate that.
That's a good.
Because a lot of times somebody had like a 2-foot sidewalk, and now they want a 3-foot sidewalk or whatever. On the request, they'll put it in, but they have to pay the extra
Right.
cement.
The fee.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's, and we've had a lot of that. I mean, the old sidewalks back in Haiti were about as big as this book, so, anyhow.
Okay. Anything else, John?
No, I just, just me and Trent were looking at that creek behind that curling club. I don't know, you might have to put a new culvert in there. So,
Well, if we do, we do.
we'll probably have to do it while Casper's still here, maybe get with their backhoe in there, but
Our backhoe won't be able to reach it.
it won't reach across there.
I could probably get it in the ditch, but it'll.
So we should approach them right away.
Well, when they get back into town.
I've already talked with Billy with JPG.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, that's
We
perfect.
have been monitoring that and pumping it over just to make sure the property owners down there don't get flooded out. But yeah, we believe the culvert's plugged or collapsed. So.
Okay, then we have to fix it.
Yeah, the culvert was there, it's under mud.
Okay. Okay, if there's nothing else, Stuart, since you spoke last, you're next.
Took part in Rams meeting last month. They had a person from Talon Metals, that's the mining group down by Aiken, down there that's exploring for nickel.
By Aiken?
Aiken.
Really?
Yeah.
It's actually not.
Tesla.
Yeah,
Tesla's
It's actually.
Elon's behind that one, so it's gonna happen.
210 by McGregor and somewhere in there, so. They're giving us a report on what they're doing, what they wanna do, and hopefully what they can do, but
See with the permits, how long that holds them
that ain't
up.
gonna probably.
20 years for
Water
calling
down
that.
there.
Well, yeah, they do.
Actually, it's not gonna be an open pit, it's gonna be a closed pit, and it's gonna be dry stacked like what Twin Metals is
Yeah.
doing.
Well, what Twin Metals wants to do.
And then we had one of the guys that are running for sheriff was at the meeting, and so that's about it.
That's the former chief in Duluth?
Yeah.
Yeah, he came and spoke to the mayor's meeting, yep.
And then personal note, added to the population of Buhl. So, got a little daughter named Kennedy.
Congratulations.
So we're gonna have to put 1,001 on the sign?
Well, actually, we shrunk. We were down to 900 something, weren't we, Ryan? According to the last census?
According to the that's. Our last official census number was, I believe, like 972 or something like that.
For 2020?
Yeah,
I think they missed a lot of people. I think the census was not, it wasn't
there's been a
exact.
lot of discrepancies around here. I mean, we can base we can do a little bit over 1,000, we can do a little bit under 1,000. It just, it benefits us in kind of being right around that 1,000 mark, to tell you the truth, whether it's for a couple or more or a couple less, so.
Okay.
That's about it.
Okay, Brandon, you're up.
I would like to formally invite the whole council to the dunk tank on June 25th. I will be there.
On June what?
June 25th, correct?
Oh, I thought you said 25th. It sounded like you said 24th, okay.
Yep, that'll get our rec board some donations, give the community a chance to.
Maybe we'll pay not to have to go out there.
That should be a good time. That's all I got.
Okay. I just have several things for mayor's comments, and the first of, I've got three things I'd like to talk about, but one, blight enforcement by the Buhl Chisholm Police Department will begin in the very near future. Issues that will be addressed include, but are not limited to, so once again I'm reviewing blight. Cluttered properties that may include unused and unlicensed vehicles, debris, and other forms of garbage. Now, we took it kind of easy last year with all the construction going on in town, but this is one thing that now the police have a little bit more force in this. The courts are operating. There's a fine that's involved with this, and you will be summoned to court. And if you keep missing it, the fine, I think, increases. Am I correct, Attorney Carney?
Well, if you don't show up for court, they might give you one continuance, but after that, it could be a warrant for your arrest to appear.
Okay, so I mean, this is something that can be cleaned up rather easily, I'm assuming. Trailers, motorboats, or motorhomes, excuse me, boats and other equipment that are parked on city streets for an extended period of time. Technically, they should be switched to street, but I've seen motorhomes parked for 3 and 4 weeks on some of the narrow streets that we have, and then one nearby, so that people are weaving in and out, and it's a safety issue as well as, but they can be ticketed. Grass and weeds that have not been cut or abated, unsafe buildings that pose a risk to the community. We're trying to take care of two with our actions tonight. And then vehicles parked on city boulevards. We made that clear a couple of years ago that is on the city books as an ordinance. So it can be enforced. Failure to comply with city blight ordinances will be enforced, and those in violation will be subject to tickets, fines, and prosecution, including a mandatory court appearance. The second item I wanted to mention is a reminder that the city's annual spring cleanup, which is scheduled for June 6th through the 9th. Residents need to contact City Hall by 4 p.m. on June 3rd to have items picked up. There's a small fee for some items such as TVs, couches, chairs, etc., but most items are free of charge. This is a great opportunity to address some of those blight issues we just mentioned above and help keep the city clean and attractive for all. And I guess it's a nice thing to know is that irregardless if it's a free item or a paid item, you have to make arrangements with City Hall. That's what I think people seem to forget, that they can just put it out and it'll get picked up. You have to make arrangements for that to happen. It works slick. I think it's a chance for a lot of people to get a lot of things taken out at little or no cost. And the last item is an update for the public about the recent power outage that occurred Thursday night, that last Thursday. As a reminder, if you experience an outage, the best source of action is to contact Minnesota Power either by calling 1-800-228-4966 or through their website, www.minnesotapower.com. From there, Minnesota Power will contact the appropriate personnel. With the last outage, the problem had to do with an issue in a substation in Evelyn, which caused outages throughout the area. Most citywide power outages are the result of a failure that is outside of the City of Buhl's control and thus require Minnesota Power personnel to correct. As a result, the information on what caused the outage isn't known until Minnesota Power completes their assessment, which could be days or weeks after the outage, depending on circumstances. While the city would like to be able to provide more information to residents who inquire about outages, in most cases, the information is not available until after the fact. And Trent highlighted exactly what happened, and we got failed on both ends. Normally we have a fail-safe that through some of this stuff, but when both of our feeder lines were put out of action, that kind of created the situation, and of course everything had to be fixed backwards towards Buhl to get us online. So, and they still got it done within about 4 hours, I believe. So, hats off to them and hats off to the city crew for all the work they've done too. That's all I have. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Stewart, support.
Support.
Support by Brandon. All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned at 8 bells.